The Bermuda Triangle occupies a place of honor in the pantheon of the greatest mysteries of the Earth. Even in our high-tech age, scientists still have not managed to solve the main mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, namely the main reason for the disappearance of so many ships and planes without leaving track. What about the ship that the Triangle from Bermuda brought back? Welcome everyone to our channel today. We are going to tell you about amazing disappearance of ships, aircraft and people, as well as vessel found which disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle nearly 100 years ago. Year: the American merchant ship SS Cotopaxi, transporting a cargo of coal, left the port of Charleston in Carolina of the South on November 29, 1925, for La Habana in Cuba, but never reached its destination. The disappearance of the ship and its 32 passengers, and one of the story's most famous, linked to the Triangle of Bermuda. It was learned that after the departure of the SS Cotopaxi of Charleston the 1st December 1925, distress signals were sent from aboard the ship, bowed during a storm. Tropical and water has gained ground. The communication with the vessel was then lost. The searches did not make it possible to find the channel blocks of salvage of remains of cargo or body. December 31, 1925, the ship is declared missing. In 2020, a team of experts discovered new data and organized another expedition to seek the missing ship. This is how the remains of the SS Cotopaxi were discovered 35 miles away, 65 kilometers off the town of St. Augustine. It turned out that they had already been found 35 years ago, but nobody hadn't thought of linking between this wreck and the missing ship in the Bermuda Triangle. The experts carried out numerous tests and hope that the analysis of the wreckage found in California will allow finally to unravel the mystery of the ship. Disappeared like that. After almost 100 years, the Bermuda Triangle has regained a vessel, or at least part of this one. The disappearance of a plane near the Los Underwater Resort Rockets in Venezuela has been documented more than once. The place has already been nicknamed the New Triangle of Bermuda. In 2013, a small private plane disappeared off the coast of Venezuela with on board the director of the fashion house Norsoni, and his wife was one of the 6 people traveling from the archipelago of Los Cayos at Caracas Airport. The small twin-engine plane disappeared from the radar screens, and we still don't know where he is. The archipelago of Los Roques, composed of dozens of islands, and located 150 kilometers from Venezuelan coasts, and constitutes a popular holiday destination. The missing twin-engine aircraft was launched in 1968 and was piloted by a pilot of 72 years. The wreckage of the plane and the 6 bodies victims were found a half later. This incident is the second aircraft missing in Los Locos area. In January 2008, a plane that was going in the archipelago disappeared. There were 8 Italians on board the plane. Rescuers only found the body of the couple. The causes of the accident are still unknown. The disappearance of a Boeing 777 from Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777-200 took off from the international airport on Kuala Lumpur, March 8, 2014. There were 239 people on board, 227 passengers, 10 crew members, and 2 experienced pilots. The aircraft was in good condition. The crew was in good condition. Health and weather along the way promised to be good. In the 40th minute of the flight, the Malaysian air traffic controller asked the MH370 to contact the Vietnamese air traffic controller while the plane was about to enter Vietnamese airspace. 4 seconds later, a sentence was sent from the MH370: "Good night, Malaysian 370. This is at last thing the world heard from MH370. Shortly after the transponder of the plane, i.e. the transponder aircraft radar, that transmits the flight information, this state where has been accordingly disabled. Flight MH370 disappeared from the screens of the controller's aerial. The plane remained inside of the radar's military for a while. According to military data, the Boeing has turned around above the golf course of Thailand to fly over the Malaysia, this time from east to west. then headed northwest in passing through the Gulf of Malacca. The MH370 had already been lost on the Air Force radar in the area from the north coast of Sumatra, according to Give Them the Plane. After having abruptly left the planned route change altitude, he climbed to an altitude of 58,200 feet then and descended to 4,800 feet. Likewise, the speed of the plane has changed strangely, going from 589 to 492 in 1 minute, which is a lot. Malaysia and China have identified the most crushing zones probable and spent about $142 million over 2 years to a sophisticated search operation to finally leave empty-handed. January 2017. A 3-month search by the company American Infinity Ocean also has been unsuccessful. Entertaining departure and some resembling plane wrecks were brought to the shores of different countries in recent years, but until present, only 3 of the 30 wrecks have been recognized as belonging to the MH370. We still don't know what has arrived at the Boeing where it crashed at all, or why the death of 239 people has been confirmed. Legends and reports on ghost ships are prevalent in the whole world. If you think such stories belong to the distant past, you're sorely mistaken. Still find some today. Ghost ships that roam the oceans without a crew. One of the most maritime mysteries of our time concern the Taiwanese ship IM-6. The IM-6 was discovered off the coast northwest Australia in January 2003 without any soul on board. The ship had left the port as soon as end of 2002. The holds of IM-6 were full of tones, which were already beginning to deteriorate. Various explanations have been put forward to explain the disappearance of the crew. They could have been hijacked by pirates, but the cargo security and the absence of damage to vessels refusal of this version. According to meteorologists, the weather of the sea in the regions and calm and good for sailing and fishing for a long time. The ship itself was in good condition, and it was little likely that it was abandoned due to the threat of sinking. The investigation concluded that the crew of the ship had mutinied and the captain had been killed. That was confirmed by the only crew member found, an Indonesian. And another circumstance, 2 weeks after the discovery of the IM-6, the police received a call from IM-6 engineer phone regarding a mutiny on the ship and the death of the captain and the engineer. According to him, the crew was returning home. The reason for this mutiny remains unknown. There are still no other information about the fate of the crew of the ship or its owner. He was eager to rob. Frederick Valentic, a Melbourne resident in Australia, had already obtained its license pilot at the age of 20, and the next flight in the little Cessna, which asked for it on October 21, 1978, seemed quite ordinary. Take off from a suburban airport about 230 kilometers above the Bass Strait to land on King Island, just off the Tasmanian coast. Then the same thing, but in the opposite direction. It is about 1/2 hour before landing that the pilot contacted the dispatching and to report that something unexplained start to happen, produce around him. Valentic declares that he observes a big plane. Another communication radio reveals that Fred sees 4 points, shiny lights that look like headlights landing, and that this plane flies over the session. Valentic's statement continues to confuse the dispatcher. I think he plays some kind of game. He flew over me 2-3 times the speeds I do. Can't determine he's in front of me this moment. Another half a minute more late. Melbourne looks like he's following me. What I do now is me move in a circle, and this object rotates also above me. She has a green light and some kind of surface metallic. Go all shiny in the remaining 2 minutes. Valentic manages to report first the disappearance of the plane observed, then his reappearance at the same time. You can hear the noise of the engine in the background. Finally, the pilot pronounces, this strange plane flies over me again. It's hovering, and it's not a plane. After which the microphone continues again for 17 seconds. Clicks are heard in the background, and finally all communication with the Cessna stops. This situation lasted 6 minutes. Since then, neither the Cessna nor its pilot have not been seen. Valentine disappeared without trace. Everything in reports of the pilot seemed to confirm that he had encountered something inexplicable. Ordinary journalists and professional ufologists have naturally found many witnesses who have also seen glimmers of orders and mysterious lights. cross the evening sky at this. That's all for today. Like if you like the video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.